It's Extreme Rules where the rules are extreme. Apart from the main event where there were rules. But not always rules. This actually needs to go up. Could you press the image at the bottom of the screen? No, the one on the taskbar. Thank you very much. Now let's go live, and we are live! Hey! Thank you very much, and welcome to the WrestleRamble. What next for Universal Champion Brock bloody Lesnar? I am Luke and this is Chopper Pete Quinnell, and over there, it's El Fakador Laurie Blake, who is going to be managing your super chat. So
relegated.
Get
No, promoted, mate.
He's not cool enough to be on this destiny. Such an NXT mark.
Yeah.
This is main roster chat. Well, we're going to kick things off. This is the post-Extreme Rules WrestleRamble. For those of you that are asking, I haven't seen Fight for the Fallen yet.
Nor have I.
I haven't seen Evolve yet.
Nor have I.
Haven't seen the G1 yet.
Nor have I.
Those were on my list of things to do today, but it's now 3 p.m, so that might have to wait until tomorrow before I get to actually start watching some of those. So we're going to talk about Extreme Rules instead, which was long. It was a long show.
It was.
From what I can gather, so was Fight for the Fallen. It might have even been longer. But anyway, let's talk about Extreme Rules, which I thought was a really good show.
Yeah.
I really liked this.
It exceeded my expectations. Granted, my expectations were not that high. I thought there might be a couple of matches that were pretty good and the rest would be a bit boring. But I found myself having a good time for the vast majority of the show. Bar maybe one match.
Yeah.
I was having a good time.
Absolutely. And I would say I was having a really good time up until the last two matches. Whereas I thought the WWE Championship match between Kofi and Joe suffered from the fact that the crowd clearly didn't buy into Joe winning.
Yeah,
and it was just chanting for Lesnar to cash in, and I think that what Kofi has had, I mean, we'll get onto it later, but I think his championship run has been missing a credible championship contender, and therefore I don't think anyone ever believes that he's in jeopardy of losing the belt, and therefore no one can really get into his matches, and haven't done since the Bryan feuds. And the main event I wasn't that into either, and I think the crowd were, again, because I don't think the crowd ever bought that Corbin and Evans were going to win. So all we were doing was just sort of like silently watching Seth and Becky do some spots with them before we waited until the finish came around. And it was the both matches were a bit boring, really, particularly the main event.
I enjoyed both of those matches more than I enjoyed the SmackDown Women's Championship match. Bayley, Nikki Cross, and Alexa.
I thought it was so-so.
That match for me was the most boring match of the night. I think there was still some redeeming factors for both the WWE Championship match and the main event. Main event was riddled with logic holes, but we'll talk about that later. But I still managed to find some modicum of enjoyment out of it, which was nice. Until the ending, that is.
I think for the SmackDown women's match, I had interest in there because I thought we might get Sasha Banks. So I was kind of like, there was teasers of that again throughout the commentary. And I thought at some points that Bliss and Cross might win. I thought that Becky's got the odds stacked against her. And there is every chance that this company could just put the belt back on Alexa. And so at least there was a modicum of interest in there might be a title change. These two main events, I was like, there's no way. Absolutely no way in hell. But yeah, let's talk about, though, the sort of post angle from this. Actually, sure, should we talk about the main event first?
The entire main event. Let's
talk about the main event first. It was Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch versus Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans with it's winners take all for the Universal and Raw Women's Championship in an Extreme Rules tag team match where there are no rules except for the rule that men must fight men and women must fight women.
Yes.
And there must be legal tags.
Yes. Except that there's no DQs, so if you don't follow those rules, then there's no repercussions.
Absolutely. That's what I thought. While I was watching, I was like, why isn't Becky just beating up Corbin? Because she can't get DQ'd for breaking the rules.
Everyone's just, wrestling's just built on honor. That's what this is all about. They just respect the wrestling industry so much that they'll just follow the rules.
And then when Corbin hit the end of days on Becky Lynch at the end, the commentators were like, he's gone too far! He did a wrestling move in a wrestling ring? How bloody dare he? I don't think a tag had been made. I think that's why this is against the rules, and the rules are in place for a reason. It actually was the best bit of the match.
I loved it.
It was Corbin giving it at the end of the day. She took it like an absolute jet. It was
great.
Brilliant.
It was such a good spot.
Absolutely brilliant.
And the crowd went nuts for it.
Because the crowd had been dead.
The crowd, and I saw very briefly, I checked out the Squared Circle Reddit briefly this morning on my way into the office. And I only saw one comment which no one really picked up on, but I believe someone that went spoke about the lighting, which has been a problem at different pay-per-views where there's been a light shining on most of the audience and they can't see the matches and things like that. So I don't know whether that was a factor, because it was just one person mentioning just like, oh, when are they going to fix their lighting issues? I was like, was that a problem that maybe the crowd couldn't get into it because they couldn't see stuff? Or like, what was it? Or was it just the crowd was silent for certain things because they weren't into it? Or I don't know what it was. But the crowd were very quiet for a lot of this show.
Oh, yeah.
Especially in the main event. You could hear a pin drop for most of this.
I think they were tired. It was late in the day. It's the main event. It's been a long show. You know, it was 4 hours. The card was 4 hours long, plus the 1 hour pre-show. So that's 5 hours people have been in the building for. It's a long time to keep people in a wrestling and keep them interested. And particularly then, you present them a main event where there's almost zero chance that the heels are going to win.
Yeah.
And there's these logic holes with the rules and not rules. So I don't blame the crowd for not being into this at all. By this point, I was very much done with this show. I was done, so I was ready to just wrap this up and start writing my review. And it was just, they did some spots, crowd chanted for Lesnar.
Yeah.
And so the crowd not reacting was at its most obvious when Seth and Becky did dives through 2 tables on the outside, and there was barely a peep.
Yeah.
A couple of people went,
Woo!
But there was no chance of Holy S. There were no ECW chants. Bearing in mind this is in Philadelphia.
And there were lots of ECW chants throughout the night.
Probably
when it wasn't deserved.
Yeah, well, quite. And it was just, but the only time they reacted was when Corbin hit the end of days on Becky Lynch. And the crowd went, oh my God! Whoa! Oh my God, I wasn't expecting that. And it was actually a really cool moment. But then Seth unloads on Corbin with kendo sticks and chair shots, which the crowd didn't respond to. And then he was trying to get them to do the burn it down chant. Weren't doing that either. And I think at this point they were just waiting for Lesnar.
Yeah. And that was the thing. I think with Paul Heyman cut a promo early in the night, doubling down on what he said on Raw, to being like, yeah, Lesnar's still cashing in, by the way. So,
but I might be lying.
But also, am I lying or am I Paul Heyman? It's like, huh? But anyway, he'd already said that, yes, I will be cashing in, and we'd already had the WWE Championship match where Lesnar didn't appear. So we're fully expecting Lesnar to come out after this match is over. So people are like, come on, where's my Lesnar?
Exactly, yeah. And they got their Lesnar because I didn't think the main event was particularly great, but the crowd popped huge for Lesnar coming out. Whether it was the reaction they wanted, because I don't think there was actually that much booze for him. Not that I heard.
No.
I haven't gone back and rewatched it, but
I think once he actually won, it was a bit mixed. But first, when they hear Lesnar's music hit, everyone goes, "Way! It's the thing we wanted."
So we're getting the cash in.
Yeah.
And to be fair, with the chants for Lesnar, they were followed up with a portion of the crowd chanting, "No, we don't." Where the crowd were chanting, "We want Lesnar." No, we don't.
Yeah.
But Brock came in. He hit several German suplexes on Rollins, and Heyman officially cashed it in. F5, Lesnar's champ once again.
Yeah.
And I suddenly thought to myself, because in our prediction show, our bonus question was, will Brock cash in? And we were all like, no, not at this point. They've teased it one too many times. They're going to wait till a big show. They're going to wait till Fox. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. Bloody more fool us. And then at the end of it, I suddenly thought, you know what? Heyman's running Raw. And now we've got Lesnar as the top guy on a Raw show that is creatively led by Paul Heyman. Really, we should have seen this coming.
Yeah, we really should.
Hindsight 2020. We should have seen this coming on this show.
There's just so many other factors that clouded over that part of our judgment about Heyman running the show. Even though Heyman running the show has been a big part of what we've been discussing for the last few weeks, for some reason, none of us just put 2 and 2 together.
And I really believe that this would have been better had we not had all the other teases of cash-ins. Yeah. Had we not had Saudi Showdown, had we not had you know when you're like, after he won and then he found out that he had a whole year, that would have been it. That should have been the last we saw of Lesnar up until this point here. Because then you would have had like this big, I would have cut out all these Heyman promos teasing that he might do it. I'd have just had him pray here to be like, oh my God, Lesnar's here. But I think because we had the tease after tease after tease after tease after tease, I was done. I was ready for him to just cash in and get it done with.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of glad that he's now just cashed it in. But at the same time, I'm like, oh God, Brock Lesnar's champ again. Which means we're now getting the same story we've had now for years upon years upon years, which is Lesnar's got the belt. He's holding it hostage. We need a babyface to take it off him. We had it with Cena. We've had it with Roman. Now we're getting it with Seth. And I'm really, really tired of this storyline.
Yeah, I think I'm remaining optimistic, probably against my better judgment. But the only way I will be okay with this happening is if Brock faces someone, whether it be Seth or someone completely new for SummerSlam, and he loses. And that's it. Brock just drops the belt immediately after cashing it in at SummerSlam. I'll be completely okay with this cash-in if that's what happens. If he doesn't do the same storyline of him holding the belt hostage and everyone has to... He's never there and the champ doesn't show up and all that stuff. Yeah, if he's there...
Seth coming out, promos being like, I'm here.
Yeah,
where's Brock?
I'm a workhorse and he's not. Yada, yada, yada. If he's just there, and I'm hoping with Heyman's influence, Lesnar's more likely to do stuff if Heyman asks him to, because it's Heyman. I'm hoping that Lesnar will actually show up and be more inclined to do spots and angles and things like that. Have him do a new feud, or keep Seth. If you really want to keep Seth. But just have someone come in and just beat Lesnar. Not like some low blow, wacky finish with crazy overbooking. Just someone comes in and just beats him. Aleister Black. Have him come in.
SmackDown.
Doesn't matter. What's a brand split? Have him just come in and just beat him.
Okay, so here's my prediction. I'm going with my wild prediction here. It's going to happen at Raw Reunion.
Oh my God.
So earlier in the show, they announced Raw Reunion, which is essentially, it's Raw 25, SmackDown 1000, where we get everyone back together. And I was thinking about this on the way in today, and I was like, why would they announce a Raw Reunion outside of It's a Good Way to Pop ratings? Records have shown in the past few years that you do a nostalgia show, you get a ratings bump. You essentially get the nostalgia bump because people want to tune in and see, all the old stars that I recognize, want to see what they look like now, want to see what they're going to do with them, what little nostalgia things they're going to do, this, that, and the other. And you get a nostalgia bump from it. The problem is that those shows have then been pretty rubbish, Raw 25 and SmackDown 1000 in particular, and nothing of importance has happened on them that no one's watched the following week. Or you just go back to where you started, and that bump was a 1 week thing. What we actually need for this to be a successful experiment is to do a big killer angle on the show. So I'm thinking CM Punk turns heel on The Rock at Raw 1000, which was an angle that got people talking the following day. What you want for this Raw reunion is not just nostalgia stuff. You want that show to end with something that people are talking about the following day and saying, man, you've got to see Raw this week. This amazing thing happened. I can't wait to see what's going to happen next week. So what if at Raw Reunion they announce, because in 2 weeks' time, Brock's going to defend the Universal Championship against Seth Rollins. It's the first time that Brock's defended the title on Raw, or I don't know if that's the case, but they can find some way to fudge. It's the first time he's done it in July, you know. They can find some way to fudge it and be like, it's the first time ever, whatever. And Seth wins the belt there. And you have the big climactic finish of Seth winning the Universal Championship back. And you have that as your big closing angle, hopefully to get people watching again the following week and keep them there. And throughout the show, you do other cool stuff that makes people want to see. So it's not just, here's Hogan, here's Nash, here's, it made me laugh, Devon Dudley. Because we can't get Bubba, but we can get Devon because he works backstage. Here's Devon, here's Christian. You know, just bringing out these people to do whatever it is, actually have something worthwhile at the end of the show to get people talking. That could be a way to do it.
Yes, it could. And I think that's a great idea. However, I think they've just done it for ratings. I don't think there's anything more to it. They're just like, hey, ratings are dropping. Get everyone back.
Yeah, just bring back Hogan.
Yeah.
Whenever you bring back a name from the past, people will tune in and watch.
They just go back and they say, well,
we'll do 20 names.
Yeah. So they look at it and they go, Raw 25 did well. SmackDown 1000 did well. Raw 1000 did well. Let's just do that. Do we have any milestones coming up? No? Do it anyway.
Raw Reunion. Here's
Raw
DX.
Reunion. Yeah.
They're the architects of the Attitude Era. Absolute boulder dash that of a statement that is. Before we get into your super chat, a quick update on the Wrestle League standings. At the start of the night, Andy was leading with 72 points, with Ollie behind him with 67, Laurie with 64, and then Pete with 57, myself with 56, and housemate Simon with 50. That was following Fight for the Fallen.
Yes.
And then after tonight, These two, the Baldy boys here, and an absolute stormer. Absolute
great
stormer.
Show.
9 out of 12 points. Housemate Simon got 6, as did Laurie. I don't know what Ollie and Andy got, but Andy's on 80 points now. And
So we got 8.
8. Ollie is on 74. Laurie's on 70. Pete's on 67. I'm on 66. And Housemate Simon is on 56 points. But because Housemate Simon isn't going to be around for SummerSlam, I'm effectively still bottom of the league and will likely be doing the punishment, unless, of course, I have a good couple of shows. Because I'm 1 point behind you, and I'm 4 points behind El Fakador.
Yes, and I'm only 3 points behind now, and now I'm 7 points behind Ollie, which is totally possible because SummerSlam's going to have 22,000 matches.
Yeah, they will have a lot of matches.
So
So that is the Wrestle League standings. You can still get involved with Season 2 over at WrestleTalk.com or onto our Patreon page, patreon.com/WrestleTalk. But for now, let's head on over to El Fakador, who's got some Super Chat questions. Hey, man.
I do indeed have Super Chat questions. Just a note for people watching, I am going to just read them off screen because it is a massive faff running the machine and changing backwards and forwards because we've only got one computer to do all the Super Chat stuff. So I'm going to put you back on the screen now.
Okay.
And then I'm going to do some Super Chats.
Lovely.
Cool. That means that people don't get to see the lovely El Fakador face.
That's right. Just Google me and look at my picture at the same time. So Tim Arndt sends us a Super Chat. He says, I know we just had Extreme Rules, but I just want to talk about Fight for the Fallen.
I know, man.
Well,
and I would too, but I haven't seen the show yet. But I have heard that A, it was long, B, it wasn't as good as Fyter Fest or Double or Nothing, and C, Britt Baker got a concussion during the tag match for him, B, Priestley.
And hot tagged in the wrong person.
And hot tagging the wrong person, yes.
That's very good.
Yeah, which could be concussion related. So.
And also MJF got an elbow injury.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I didn't hear that one.
Supposedly not too serious, but he's been pulled out of events to not aggravate it.
But I've heard that the main event of Young Bucks versus the Rhodes Brothers was excellent. One review said it was the best Young Bucks match they've ever seen.
Wow.
So
that's high praise.
I'm going to try and check it out today, but it's more likely I'll end up watching it tomorrow after Raw. Yeah.
Cool. Another one in from Jobber JJ, a.k.a. Ollie Davis's #1 fan. He said, Hi, y'all. First of all, what a weekend of wrestling. I thought WWE did a good job in protecting Cesaro and Ricochet in defeat. They showed a lot of good S.
They did, actually. Yeah, that particularly the Black Cesaro match. I loved that match.
Yes.
Absolutely loved it. And
It was great.
I said in the review, which will be going live later today, the 10-minute review, where, yeah, like Black and Cesaro came out looking like stars at the end of it. Both of them. Cesaro in loss, Black in victory. And I'm like, just do more of this.
Yeah.
Because clearly you know how to do it. And it was really, really good. And actually, the Ricochet match was excellent as well. And I don't think Ricochet lost anything in losing the match.
No, I don't think he lost anything losing the match. What a novel concept that having wrestlers do good wrestling will get them over.
Shocking.
Jonathan Hedman with Super Chat says, What's next for Brock? Judging from the past, it's time for a vacation. That's a lot of work the last few months.
It's true.
He has done a lot of minutes.
Yeah.
He's been clocking in those minutes.
He absolutely has.
He climbed a ladder, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's a lot.
Oh,
He's the
yeah.
only person who has a punch card for the whole year of work.
Actually, I'm with Pete on this one. I think that he's probably going to be around because we're like 4 weeks out from SummerSlam.
Yeah,
I could probably see him doing all 4 weeks.
August 10th.
Yeah.
Sorry, August 11th.
Yeah, I could see him doing all 4 weeks.
Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah.
Now Heyman's in control-ish.
No message from Joe Ray, just a very generous super chat.
Thank
you
you
very
very
much. James Plays Games comes in with AEW give $150,000 to victims of gun violence while WWE take Saudi blood money. I know what I'll be watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I wonder what James does in his spare time.
I think he's into comics. Jobber JJ comes in again. Which was better, WWE Extreme Rules or AEW FFTF? Ta-ta for now.
I don't know. I haven't seen the show.
Nor have I.
No.
James Plays Games again. The idea that the 64-year-old Eric Bischoff will succeed. Hang on 1 sec.
Try again.
Try again.
Yeah, okay. Okay, fine.
Yeah,
the idea that 64-year-old Eric Bischoff will win back the younger audience is laughable. Also, does the close-up of Lacey's butt signal the zenith of equality in WWE?
Oh my god.
I mean, I don't know, but like Heyman's can't be much younger than Bischoff
he's
is, right?
At least in his 50s.
Yeah, let me have a quick.
Heyman.
Poor
But I mean,
Heyman
does seem very much more in touch with the wrestling product.
And he's
as a whole.
53.
53. and Eric Bischoff is older than that. 64.
Crikey, they're 10 years apart.
Yeah.
Bloody
11
hell. I
years apart.
genuinely would have thought they're
Yeah.
about 2 years at most
I know.
apart from each other.
Crazy. But yeah, Heyman does very much more seem in touch.
Bischoff looks good for 64 years old.
Looks all right, doesn't he?
No wonder his memory's completely shot to hell. But he looks great for his age.
He looks more and more like George Michael as time goes on.
Just got to have faith.
Yeah, that's it. Ghostface 1999 comes in with, I want to apologise to Pete Quinnell, Ollie Davis, and the WrestleTalk team for my joke on Twitter. It did not translate very well. Love what you all do.
No, don't apologise for that.
You're fine.
That's just Pete's got no sense of humour.
That was just me being tired and not registering what a joke is.
I got
It's
the
fine.
joke. I thought it was good.
No, Luke got it. Don't worry.
Michael Dominguez says, it's my birthday and last ramble. Teachers start next week. I came across WWE Watch Party ripping your live stream off. It was slightly better, but they had Peyton Royce and Adam Cole. Get them next time.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for watching, and thank you for your super chat. Good luck with your teaching.
Let's blitz through 5 more. And then
Yes,
we'll hand
please.
back.
Yeah, and then we'll crack on with the show.
Tim Arndt comes back in with, I'm choosing to look at the positive side of Brock cashing in. At least the male Money in the Bank briefcase built a star this year.
It did.
It's a good one.
Sure did. Oh, yeah, at least they cashed in successfully.
Yeah.
It's the first time in 2 years it's happened.
Yeah.
Because
Didn't even think about that.
Baron didn't, Braun didn't.
Yeah.
It's got to be Brock.
Jesus.
At least it's out of the way, I think.
Yeah,
is
it's out of the way now.
The inevitable has happened.
Yeah.
And now we can go from here.
Now we can move on.
WWE's new mantra, the positives. Well, at least it's over.
Yeah. We've reached the bottom, so the only way is up. I don't know. If you dug deeper.
Right, let's give it a go.
Kevin comes in and says, I can't help but think that one day KO and Kofi will team up in some random main event and everybody will act as if they never had any rivalry.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only thing I hate about KO's push.
Oh, yeah, no, totally.
Yes.
Yeah. As like the two big baby faces on SmackDown. Yeah, 100%.
They basically just retconned that entire heel turn that he had. Mm-hmm. I'm okay with it because I want to forget about it, so that's fine with me.
Yeah.
Joe Ray comes in with, while I am saddened, the surprisingly good show is outweighing my sadness. I am now interested in what will happen next. Love you guys.
Yeah.
XOXO.
Very excited.
This week, thank you.
Thanks, Laurie.
This week's Raw and SmackDown are going to be very interesting because we're now in the Heyman Bischoff era.
Yeah, I am.
Starting tonight.
I'm very excited, and I get to review Raw tomorrow, and I'm genuinely excited to wake up tomorrow and watch it. Just to see, is it any different? Am I still going to be bored? I don't know.
Can you imagine if it's the exact same show?
We're
watching it like, are we sure? Are we sure this started?
Is it next week that it starts? Yeah.
If it turned out he's been doing it all along. Penultimate one for now, Tim Arndt coming in and killing it once again. Mm-hmm. I hear that in the PC version of 2K19 there's an easy cheat code to beat Seth Rollins. You press F5 once.
Hey! Good one.
Very good.
Like it.
And our last one, Roger comes in with, do you think they will really keep Baron and Lacey out of the title pictures since they lost?
Well, technically, because Corbin's whole thing was that he couldn't go for the belt while Seth was champ. Seth's not champ now, so Baron can have more title shots if he wants.
Yeah.
Not about Lacey, though. Lacey can't.
That's the thing, though. It's so hard for me to predict. I have no idea what Heyman wants to do. He could just do a full reset on the show tonight, and then we could have completely different stories going forward. So I don't know.
Yeah, WrestleVotes, we talked about this on the Saturday show.
We did.
Very, very reliable WrestleVotes tweeted out that Heyman and Bischoff are essentially given the option to completely wipe the slate clean and just drop all storylines they've been building towards SummerSlam for a fresh restart. Mm-hmm. So there could be some stuff that's carried over. Kevin Owens could be a heel on SmackDown. We don't know.
Oh, God, imagine.
He could do.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Yeah.
I imagine he won't, but there is a possibility.
Well, I'm hoping that the clean slate is we can wipe all the stories, not you can wipe all the characters and start again, because that would be a bit weird.
So let's start with the pre-show, which for the most part was fine. A lot of filler stuff, but Baron Corbin was wearing one hell of a shirt.
Oh my God, wasn't it just?
Crikey.
Yeah,
burn me eyes.
That was indeed a shirt.
When I woke up at 5 a.m. this morning and I was sort of like clicking through because it's just like, all right, the panel's just chatting a load of crap, blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden I see this Baron Corbin shirt and I'm like, oh, crikey. Finally, I'm awake now. I'm like, oh my God.
I will admit, I didn't really listen to any of the promo/panel talk because I was watching the stage finals of Overwatch League, which was a lot more enjoyable. But anyway, I did watch the matches though, and that's the important bit.
Nerd.
I know.
Shinsuke Nakamura took on Finn Balor for the Intercontinental Championship. This had been announced earlier in the day, so it was announced on Sunday. Added very, very late. And I'll be honest, I've just missed Nakamura. Like him making his entrance, the way he carries himself, I was like, God, I've missed you.
Yeah, and then Balor afterwards as well, and I was like, I miss NXT. This era of NXT. I know it's probably not quite as good as the current era of NXT, or maybe just slightly in the past of NXT, but I still miss that era, man. It was great.
And I thought this wasn't as good as their SmackDown match, but it was still a lot of fun. It had the shrink screen treatment. But yeah, Kinshasa, Nakamura wins the IC title. What a pointless title run Finn had.
Tell me about it. I don't hate the fact that Nakamura won.
Nope.
Because Nakamura winning's great. They seem to be pushing him a little bit and I know it's a bit premature to say Nakamura's getting a push because that's what we thought when he won the US title. Look how that one went. But the way they were talking about him on SmackDown, the words they were using around him on commentary, it seems like they're trying to build him up. Obviously, that could all change with Bischoff on Tuesday. Who knows? But it seems like they want to do something with him.
Yeah,
so fingers crossed they actually do something with him.
I completely agree. But although having the IC title means you're not allowed on TV, it's
true.
I think.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll see. Speaking of championships, Tony Neese took on Drew Gulak for his WWE Cruiserweight Championship. Nice hometown pop for Gulak. Zero mention of Evolve on commentary as well from the 10th anniversary show.
Oh, it doesn't matter now. It's already done.
It's already done, I guess, yeah. I thought this was good, but it's not on the same level as previous Cruiserweight matches. Like, it's far from... And I love Gulak. I think he's so, so good. And I think Tony Nese is awesome as well. But I don't think these two had the match that was as good as, say, Cedric versus Buddy Murphy, or like when it was Buddy Murphy versus Ali, like last year, that sort of stuff. And from what I've seen, it wasn't as good as his match with Matt Riddle at Evolve either.
Yeah, and it wasn't as good as their previous match when Gulak won the title at Stomping Grounds.
No.
So,
which I haven't seen.
Yes, but I'll tell you, because I watched it, it wasn't as good.
Okay. So it was fine.
It was fine.
Intro video for the main show was very, very cool. It was like a sort of close-up shot of a mouth.
Was it Mandy Rose's mouth?
Well, I don't know, because there's this weird point when, like, because it's sort of a mouth, it's like all black and white apart from her red lips. So instantly I thought it was like Lacey Evans. So, but then there's a moment where she's speaking, and then right at the end, it fades into Seth's face, and I was like, was it Seth? Is that what I'm supposed to infer from this?
I mean, it could be.
Could be.
Who knows?
And a few people have said that they think that there's a tease for Sting in this as well, because there were some crows during the Undertaker's bit. I don't think we're getting that match. No. Sting's got sort of like spinal stenosis. I don't think he's going to get cleared for a WWE match. No. But, stranger things have happened.
I did very much enjoy that they were going around the wheel of stipulations on the thing.
That was cool.
And they had last man standing, Extreme Rules, no holds barred, WWE Championship. It's a great stipulation, that one.
It's a rule. Our opening contest, which they announced on the pre-show to kick off, was Shane and Drew versus the Graveyard Dogs.
Great name, that one.
Amazing. So on Friday's news, I thought, this is a terrible name.
It's awful.
It's an awful name.
Yeah.
And all the tweets I had from people were like, guys, have you seen this? It's another terrible name. And yet, when I posted up about this in the news, and I put up a poll saying, what's the worst tag team name out of this? Kabuki Warriors, Viking Experience, and...
Bestie's Best for Business.
Bestie's Best for Business.
Yeah.
All the comments were like, I really like Graveyard Dogs. I think it's a great name. I think it's a really cool name. And it came like bottom last. It only got 7% of the vote. 60% said Bestie's Best for Business, which isn't shocking. It's a terrible name.
Yeah, no, it's awful.
But I was genuinely surprised at the amount of people that liked the name Graveyard Dogs.
To put it in perspective as well, the WhatsApp group that I had between me and my friends previously was called Do the Muscle Man Dance. It's now called the Graveyard Dogs because it's a meme, and they changed the picture to the t-shirt of the Graveyard Dogs because it's awful. We had our own predictions league sort of between our friends. The loser of Extreme Rules has to buy the Graveyard Dogs t-shirt because it's awful.
Amazing.
It's really bad.
This show was nearly 20 minutes old before the first bell had happened. So how long it took them to do these bloody intros. Just kept going and going and going. I'm like, God, hell, guys, come on. Then we've got a long show to go. Yeah. Taker was sporting a bit of a new look. He had more of like a high-necked vest on, which I thought was actually a vast improvement for him.
They look really,
really good. Yeah. And actually, I thought Taker looked awesome in this match. I was after the Saudi show, I was a bit worried. I was like, crikey, this Taker's just not, he's not moving these days. But actually, Taker looked awesome in this match. I thought the smoke and mirrors of having no holds barred really, really helped what was going on. I thought this was actually really, really fun.
Yeah, I had a whale of a time. That was helped by the crowd. Because the
crowd
crowd
were
were
massively into it.
Hot. They were so hot for this match. And I was like, man, if this crowd stays this hot for the rest of the night, cool, we're going to be in for a good one.
Because the next match after this was the Usos Revival. I was like, man, this crowd, spoiled. This crowd's going to go absolutely ape for this match. And then they just went silent.
Nothing. But yeah, Undertaker looked so much better than I expected him to. And I even wrote my notes while he was making his entrance. I was like, I know he can't wrestle. I know he can't have a good match. And I know I'm going to be disappointed. But I'm getting so excited for his entrance, partially helped by the crowd. But I was like, oh, that entrance and that music still gets me every time. And then he got in the ring and I was like, oh, you can still wrestle, I guess.
Yeah.
It was really nice to see. And then they mentioned on commentary that in November this year, Undertaker will have been in WWF/E for 29 years. Wow. It's an absurd amount of time.
That is, nearly 30
Crazy.
years.
Yeah.
There were some really cool spots in this. I thought that they put Drew over hard in this as well. Like he claymored Roman over the timekeepers area, which was really, really cool. And so the action spilled to the outside, and Undertaker was going to give Shane the last ride through a table, but then Elias came in and he used the guitar and the heels took over. Shane played his greatest hits. He did the elbow drop through the table and the coast to coast, but can't stop the Graveyard Dogs, and they won with a tombstone. And I thought this was so much fun.
Yeah, I had a whale of a time watching it. It was great fun. And there was a beautiful shot that I absolutely loved when Undertaker was there, taunting to the crowd. He just beating up Shane or whatever he was doing. And then out of nowhere behind him, McIntyre comes up and he starts staring him down. And I was like, that is an amazing shot. It was so good. And then after that, McIntyre's lining up for the Claymore, starts running at him. And out of nowhere, Roman comes in with a spear onto McIntyre. I was like, that was some beautiful camera work.
It was really, really good.
Awesome.
Yeah, credit to Kevin Dunn. That was some excellent directing.
That was fantastic.
I thought it was a lot of fun. I really hope that we are going to get Taker Drew out of this because Drew's had not the greatest year for wins and losses. So him getting a win over Undertaker at SummerSlam, that's big, man.
That's huge, yeah.
It's got to be something you can do out of that.
Yeah, for sure. I'd really like that. And it was cool as well because Undertaker pinned Shane, of all people. Love that.
Lovely stuff.
Finally, Shane got a loss. Also, one lovely moment that I liked from this one was Undertaker starts staring at the commentary table because he's teasing he's going to do the last ride to Shane through it. And the commentator's like, what's he staring at? I was like, well, it's directly at you, for starters. And then Renee, with zero emotion, just goes, message received. What?
Come on, Renee.
Come on, Renee.
Although, speaking of unenthusiastic, Becky and Seth did this interview backstage with not Renee. And not Renee, more robotic than ever before. Crikey, they had forgot to flick the charisma switch on tonight's show. Yeah. And then, and I do not blame Seth and Becky here, they were given some crap material to work with.
My God, it was bad.
This was awful stuff.
Yeah.
It's Seth saying, we went ideas shopping. It's the start of it. And he says that they saw the Liberty Bell, and then the Liberty Bell has got a crack in it, which will be similar to Baron Corbin's head when I stomp it into the ground. I'm like, man. And then Becky says, we also saw a statue of William Penn, and it reminded me of Lacey's career. It's covered in crap. Oh, good Lord.
No, it wasn't even that good. It's going to be covered in bird poop.
Oh, my God.
Come on.
Becky.
God.
Becky sold this with as much conviction as I did. She knew this was bad.
Oh, yeah.
And she didn't even try.
No, not even a little bit.
I felt so sorry for her.
And the weirdest thing as well is Becky delivered the line and fans started laughing at the line. I was like, you're the problem! You can't like this segment.
That's what we got the advert for Raw Reunion. The names I wrote down that were advertised were Austin, Michaels, Flair, DX, Bischoff, Angle, Hogan, Nash, Hall, Devon. There was Christian, I think.
Christian was in there.
$1 Million Man was advertised as well. Sergeant Slaughter. They're calling it the largest reunion in Raw history.
What does that even mean? No one's having a reunion, but sure.
Largest reunion in Raw history.
Of course.
So it's larger than Raw 25. It's larger than Raw 1000.
That was never advertised as a reunion.
This is a nostalgia show.
This is the first reunion they've ever advertised. Therefore,
it's the largest. Can't fault them on the logic. Then we got a match I was actually very disappointed in, which was the Revival versus the Usos. And I'm disappointed not in the four guys, because I know that they can have a match that is, based on previous matches that they've had, can be absolutely amazing. But this match just didn't seem to really get into its second gear. And I think that's partly because of the crowd, because the crowd couldn't care less. Then they were a bit burned out by the Taker tag match. And so they weren't even popping for like they're doing the splat, like the big high spots and the dives and this, that, and the other. And then the Revival just hit the Shadow Machine and won. Yeah. It's really, actually, a bit disappointing.
Yeah. I mean, there was a couple of nice spots in the match, but it wasn't anything spectacular. When we look at what the two teams have done in the past, this is nowhere near the caliber of what they can do.
Not, no.
And I mean, at the very start of the match, they do like that classic, like feeling each other out kind of wrestling technical sequence and lots of counters and back and forths. And then they kind of pull apart, and normally the crowd goes, "Hey, that was a really good sequence." Nothing from the crowd.
The only thing,
weird.
And the only thing I'm going to note on this from my notes that I've got is there was a moment during the match in which the Revival were beating up Jey Uso on the outside, and then Dawson gets into the ring and says, "Count him out, ref." And I thought, you idiot. You can't win the titles on a count out. Why are you doing this? It makes absolutely no sense. Forgetting that they're the champs. I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm the idiot. Anyway, up next, however, was a much, much better match.
Sorry, just a quick one. They had a little plug for SummerSlam in between these two matches. And Byron Saxton says that SummerSlam sold out in Toronto. Do you want to fact check that one? Because I don't know if it is actually, Byron. Don't know if you could say that on air, mate.
Of course you can.
Anyway,
yeah, up next we got a cracking match.
This was fun.
There was an argument on the Saturday WrestleRamble, I believe it was, or it might have been on the NXT review, that this could end up, or could this be? I know it was on our preview, our prediction show, where someone said, "Do you think this could be match of the night?" And we all said, "Absolutely, it has the potential to be match of the night." Amazingly, it wasn't, because I think Braun versus Bobby was for me.
I don't know. It's close between the two, I'd say.
For me personally, it was my match of the night. I had so much fun, but this was absolutely stonking.
This was great.
Oh, it's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. You had Cesaro like doing the sit-down spot right at the start, playing some mind games. You had Black doing a K-Brada on the outside, and he would do the sit-down. But there was three spots in this that got me out of my seat. The springboard uppercut by Cesaro.
Classic.
He flew.
It's such a good spot. I love it so much.
Superhuman.
Yeah.
And then later on, Black tries to do his the double knees out the corner. And Cesaro just catches him and sort of like lifts him on his shoulders, tosses him into the air, and gives him an uppercut on the way down.
So good.
Oh, I loved it so much.
Yeah.
Actually, like out you see, like, oh my god, that was so cool. And then later on, when Cesaro tries to do another springboard, and Black just catches him in midair with this bicycle knee. Oh, chef's kiss.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
Absolutely spectacular stuff. And I mean, I was so happy that they weren't given the formulaic match.
Oh yeah, no, they weren't.
Not at all. Not a rest hold in sight. Maybe there was one. I don't know.
There was some submission stuff, but not rest holds.
Yeah, but not rest holds.
Not like 15-minute rest holds.
And stuff made sense because Black for the whole match was kicking away at Cesaro's knee, Cesaro's leg. The whole match just kicking away. Every so often they do a spot and then just boop, get another kick in, and another kick in, another kick in, and then he lock in a knee bar on that one leg. I'm like, this makes sense. This is good rest holds. This makes psychological sense. This is storytelling, and it works, and it's great. And then the finish came on, which was awesome. Had a nice little sequence back and forth, and then Black's trying to throw punches and kicks, and then poof, Black mass out of nowhere.
Yeah,
whoa!
Which Cesaro sold brilliantly.
It was amazing.
Like his eyes just glazed over.
Yeah.
Oh, it was amazing.
Looked like he got legitimately knocked out, but he didn't. It was fantastic.
So good. Yeah. That was great.
Yeah, great match.
More of that, please. We've got a backstage segment with Truth putting up wanted posters for Drake Maverick, and Alexa Bliss walked out, and they did some comedy together, which wasn't good. And then Bliss gives Nikki a gift, which is her new T-shirt, which is the Starbucks logo, because coffee or something. And then the Street Profits walk up, and they did some comedy as well. And this was the first time I didn't like the Street Profits. I didn't like this that much.
Luke not liking the Street Profits.
And you know what a mark I am for the Street Profits.
I know, yeah.
I'm an absolute mark. I've said it time and time again. I've been saying it for almost 2 years now. Montez Ford is a future WWE champion. I didn't like this segment.
Yeah, there's not a point to it. That's the thing.
There was no, like, the crowd weren't responding to the quote unquote comedy, so it just falls really flat.
Yeah.
And there's nothing worse. Like, there's a reason why there's a laugh track on The Big Bang Theory. It's because it's not funny.
Yeah.
So the show has to tell you when you're supposed to laugh.
Yeah.
And the crowd weren't reacting to this at all. So everything was just falling flat. And then it just comes across as really awkward and a bit cringy. I didn't like it at all.
And I think there was only one line in it that I actually went like, and that was the last line, I think, from Angelo Dawkins, when he was like, "Is it weird that I want to party with Nikki Cross?"
Yeah.
And it was like, and then Montez was like, "Huh?" I was like,
But also, why do the Street Profits want to party with Alexa and Nikki when they win? They're the baddies. They're the heels. I think. I mean, I'm pretty.
Nikki's
no, I think I'm pretty sure Nikki is a heel. Alexa's definitely a heel.
Yes, for sure.
Now,
although she was a heel because she was manipulating Cross, but now she's not manipulating Cross because
they did seem quite friendly after
quite
the match.
friendly still. So
This storyline sucks.
yeah,
Without
Who
swearing,
knows?
it sucks.
yeah.
Speaking of which, we then got their match, the 2-on-1 handicap match. It's Bayley versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross for the SmackDown Women's Championship. If Bliss and Cross won, they would become co-champions. I've got virtually no notes on this. Bayley won.
Yeah, they spoke about Sasha Banks on commentary without naming Sasha Banks.
Yes, which is what they've been doing in sort of the promo stuff between Nikki and Bayley as well. It's like, well, you had a friend, but that friend's no longer here. And
exactly.
Corey was saying that, do you remember that friend that Bayley had and she split and now she's not around anymore?
Yeah. Wonder where she is. Who could say?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so weird. Like you said, I have no interest in this feud going into it. Like, they played the video recap of Cross and Bayley's promo from Raw, and then I immediately forgot that it was Bayley in this match. Like, straight after, I was like, who are they fighting again? I just didn't care. That was the thing.
And that's the thing is, I think if you're unenthused in a match, then it's kind of hard to get unenthused in a storyline. It's hard to then get into the match that follows it. And I'm not into this story. I'm not into these characters. I'm hoping this spells the end of it. But at the same time, with them still bringing up friends, it just screams that we're getting a Sasha Banks return.
Yeah.
And if we're getting a Sasha Banks return, then this feud must continue.
Might be tonight, I guess.
Oof, yeah, I suppose we'll find out tonight.
I saw that Nikki Cross put out a tweet earlier just saying, #Raw, don't judge someone on their past, we can only look forward or something like that. And it was just a picture of Cross and Bliss at Extreme Rules. So I assume they're going to be doing something together on Raw, probably about Bayley, and that's when we'll get Banks back. And then it'll be a tag match for SummerSlam for
do not want
the
the
title or
continue.
something. I don't
Maybe
know.
they'll win the women's tag titles.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe they'll. I mean,
That'll be all right.
what are the Iconics doing with them?
Nothing.
You may as well put them back on. If Banks comes back, you may as well put him back on Bayley and Banks.
Yeah.
Should have taken them off of them in the first place. If your own and this winds me up. And this is not like rumor and innuendo. This is from the horse's mouth.
Mm-hmm.
The Bellas said in an interview, the reason why the Iconics have got the belt is because we were meant to feud with them after WrestleMania, but I can't wrestle, so the storyline got scrapped. So that's why the Iconics have not been on TV and have not had any feuds. Because they had one plan, that plan fell through, they had no backup plan, they've not been on TV since WrestleMania.
It's absurd.
Absurd.
Make a new plan.
Yeah,
it's not hard.
Absolutely ludicrous.
Yeah. It just makes no sense to me at all.
Do you know what does make sense, though? My match of the night. Let's talk about something good. Braun Strowman versus Bobby Lashley. 2 months ago, I couldn't have given a single F about this feud.
I know.
I couldn't have cared less about this feud. Leading into Saudi Showdown, couldn't have given one single solitary F. I had less Fs to give than Daniel Bryan. And then they started doing arm wrestling and tug of experience, and I was like, this is garbage television. I hate this feud. I hate everyone involved in this feud. I couldn't care less. Fast forward, 2 weeks ago. Rewind 2 weeks ago. They did that big angle on Raw, and I'm like, that's cool.
Yes.
That was a really cool angle. And then you had Lashley destroying Mysterio and being pushed as like this unstoppable machine. I'm like, man, Lashley's cool. And now you're going to have this last man standing match between these two. I'm like, I can't wait to see it. And this not only met my quite lofty expectations, it exceeded them. This was amazing. This was so much fun. This is on a par with Miz versus Shane at WrestleMania.
That's lofty.
It's lofty, I know. In terms of like just pure joy, just smiling from ear to ear throughout. I loved it.
I think it's a very similar feeling, but I think I've got to edge Shane and Miz for Mania because I think that was from the off.
Well, there's no Miz Dad in this match.
That's true, yeah. But I think from the off, I was already smiling from Shane Miz, and this one, it took me a little bit to get into it, then I started having fun. But credit where credit is due, this was so much better than I thought it was going to be.
Oh my God,
this was awesome.
So good.
So much fun. Like, they both start brawling and doing all their big stuff. Lashley takes control. Braun does his running around the ring thing, goes around for another running one, and Lashley hits this massive spear on the outside. They brawl up the stairs into the crowd. Into the back, there's a merch table, which isn't really what merch tables look like, but they got a fake one.
I don't care.
And then Lashley goes for a suplex on the concrete, and Strowman counters it and suplexes him into the merch.
Oh, it was amazing.
It was great. It was stupid, but it was awesome.
So good. There's a spot where Lashley speared Braun through the barricade, like as they were coming back into the arena. So it wasn't the timekeepers one. It's like the barricade between the fans and the ring, which was so cool. And then he takes him over and he throws him over the announcer's table and tries to bury him underneath, but Braun just comes out. Like, they throw a planted fan out of the way because they brought back into the crowd. This fan gets in the way, so he gets thrown. And I'm pretty sure it was Braun throws Lashley over like the other announcers' tables that they've got for the other foreign language teams. And those announcers didn't move.
No, not even a little bit.
And this ginormous man just flew into poor old Sean Dang or whatever his name is and just like completely wiped him out.
That's great.
Then they get up there. They get up onto this weird staging area that had this like bizarre little box of mystery. You're like, what's that box doing there? And then Braun picks him up and they do a power slam through this weird box of whatever.
Yeah.
This void. And the refs can't see them because they're in this box. So he just starts counting. And it's focused on this wall. And I was like, I hope Braun just like explodes out of the wall. That'd be the greatest ending ever. And the ref counts, he's like at 7. All of a sudden you hear, Bosh! Braun! He just storms out of the wall like, with his arms raised. The referee jumps back in, 8, 9, 10, counts Lashley out. I was like, that was just amazing. It was a Godzilla movie come to life.
It was
more of this, please.
Absolutely bonkers.
Oh my God, I loved it.
Absolutely bonkers. But Strowman, when he was lining up for the power slam, the crowd were going nuts because he was standing there with Lashley on his shoulders. And then they drop down and you don't see where they land. So I was like, did you just power slam him into the abyss? They just landed in the 9 hells? Like, where have they gone?
Oh, I loved it.
It was, and then it makes no sense for the ref to count it, but it doesn't matter because it was fun.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, he just bursts out through the wall.
Oh my God.
And just says, Braun, you still can't see Lashley. He's somewhere in there. Who cares? 10, sure, he's down.
Braun's like covered in dust and like, cocaine and whatever was down there, flour. Oh my God, it was so much fun. Absolutely loved it.
God.
I hope that I talk of this match with the reverence that I do Raven versus Big Show versus Kane from WrestleMania X7, which at times was also like a Godzilla movie come to life.
Yeah.
I loved it.
So stupid, but
Goofy,
so fun.
but brilliant.
Yeah.
And then we had poor old Charlie. She gets backstage. Charlie's there directly to camera and she says, wow, and that is exactly why it's called Extreme Rules. Come on, mate.
It's a crap segue. Come on now.
Have a word with Kayla. She knows what she's doing.
Yeah, segue queen.
The club, AJ did a bit of a promo, said that he won't take away that Ricochet is a great athlete, but he will take away his United States Championship. That's a good line, AJ. That's a good line, writers. Well done on that one.
I think that's a completely fine line that AJ made very good.
Yes.
I think in someone else's hands, that could have been pants.
I thought it was
he
very
made it
good.
work.
And then he tells Charlie to join in on them doing the 2 sweet, but then stops her. And I'm like, how do you like it, Charlie? Not so me now, are you?
Yeah. Just like grabs her wrist, just like, just kidding.
Up next, we had the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. It was Daniel Bryan and Rowan, the Planeteers, versus Heavy Machinery versus New Day. And again, this was, I think the crowd were a bit worn out from Braun and Bobby. Weren't into this at all. They did their spots. All 6 of them tried very, very hard to get the crowd into it, but the crowd were not responding in kind. And in the end, New Day won. That's their 6th title reign as tag team champs.
I actually really like this match. I know that the crowd weren't super into it. I had a whale of a time, though. I very much enjoyed myself in this one. I liked all the spots. There's a bit where Bryan is just like pulling Woods' face back by his nose and like raking his eyes and stuff. And the ref was like, "Hey, you should stop that." And Bryan was like, "There's no DQs."
Bryan's the only one who cares about that.
I love Bryan. He's amazing. I love this bit as well where they were explaining the rules of the triple threat. And obviously they're doing the bad version where you've got 2 people in who can tag any team and it makes no sense. Todd Phillips on commentary just goes that Bryan could theoretically tag in Big E when Woods was the other legal man. So then it would be Big E versus Woods, which would be completely pointless.
Which they've done before. New Day, I believe it was when they were heels or when they were very unlikable baby faces, had one of these sort of triple threat of 4 corners matches and effectively tagged themselves in and tried to pin themselves to win the match.
It just makes no sense.
It's not fair. I don't like the way they do their triple threat tag team matches.
But looking past that, I very much enjoyed myself. There was a part where Bryan had Big E in the lapel lock. Big E's reaching for the ropes and he grabs his arm and pull it back. And then he tries to reach with his leg and then he grabs his leg and pulls that back. Cool. That was great. And then I love the finish. Yeah. The finish was, it was beautiful.
Yeah, Bryan kicking Big E, doing his yes kicks. And they just seem to annoy Big E and just fire him up. Mm-hmm. And he just stands up and Bryan slaps him and Big E's like, "Try it again, mate." And so he slaps him again. Bryan tries to do his moonsault flip thing that he does from the corner. Big E catches him for the big ending, and they hit the midnight hour for the win. I thought the finish was actually really, really cool.
It was spectacular. I love that. I'm not a huge fan of the fact that Bryan got pinned, because I like Bryan, but I don't care.
You can't pin the big one.
That's true, yeah. He's big. He's got extra powers, of course.
Yeah.
I aside from that, and aside from the stupid rules of the match, had a great time. I thought the finish was awesome. I still really like the New Day. Plus, I really like this because I predicted New Day to win.
You did, actually. So, and this did put you back ahead of me as well. We were tied for points at this point, and I was like, oh man, all the Planeteers have got to do, and I won't be bottom anymore.
Yeah, and this played into my overall prediction, was that they're going to have this 4-week period of New Day holding on the championships before Kofi loses his at SummerSlam.
I'm disappointed that the Planeteers didn't get to do more with the belts, though.
I know, that does suck.
Yeah, it really sucks.
But...
The New Day celebrated with Kofi backstage. Kayla was there. She was going to do an interview, but instead Heyman grabbed the microphone off her and walked out to the crowd. And he said that he is Philadelphia and the whole concept of Extremes, and he'll be damned if he's not part of history tonight. He said that Brock is going to cash in. He might be lying. It's the same promo he did on Raw, essentially.
Yeah.
Up next, we got Ricochet versus AJ Styles for the United States Championship. This was great. Great professional wrestling this was. Loved it.
It was good.
You didn't like it that much?
It was good.
Oh, no, that's fair. You said it was good.
It was good.
It's unfair, rather.
I think this was probably like 30% of what they're capable of. Maybe not 30. That's a bit of an underestimation. Yeah. But I feel like these guys can do a lot more than what they did. This was still fun. I still enjoyed myself. It wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. Ricochet didn't look bad coming out of it for losing. It was fine. But I just feel like they could have match of the year contenders, and they're not.
I think this felt like it was almost like the first part of a story, or maybe even the second part of a story, because we've had the stuff that they've done on Raw. So I sort of saw it as a continuation as opposed to like this didn't feel like the blow off. Yeah, and I think if you're going to have your match of the year contendership, that should almost feel like the blow off to the feud. And I think I'd like to think that's what they're holding out for, but I might be completely wrong on that one. But I'd like to think so. Crowd were done by this point as well. They were not into this whatsoever. But the story of the match was that Ricochet had to overcome the odds of the club. He had Gallows and Anderson on the outside, interfering at times, but Ricochet would sometimes get distracted in trying to take them out, and then eventually he'd get back in the ring and AJ would take over again. And one of the other reasons perhaps I like this match, it didn't have a convoluted way of restarting the match, so it was just just 15 minutes of wrestling, and that was lovely.
I think that's the one flaw with your Brock Lesnar plan on Raw Reunion of potentially dropping the title that you mentioned earlier. It would have to be in a 2 out of 3 falls match.
No, you could just do it as a short match. It's Brock. He's not doing a long match, is he?
It's true, yeah.
To be honest. I mean, if anything, Brock's like well suited to this new era of no wrestling in the ad breaks.
That's very true.
Ricochet did this enormous shooting star press onto AJ Styles, where like he nearly took out all the lights. It was absolutely. I was amazing. And what I liked about this actually is that it played off the false finish that they did a couple of weeks ago to kind of set up this balderdash rule of no wrestling in the ad breaks, where AJ's foot was under the rope and Anderson jumps up onto the ring to point to the ref and say, "Look, it wasn't cheating. He didn't put his foot on the ropes." Anderson was just there to point it out. And the commentators put over was like, Ricochet would have had that match won because the referee was out of position. He would have missed that.
Yeah.
So they did put over Ricochet that he could have won this match even against the odds. But in the end, and he had to take out Anderson, and then Gallows posted him and sort of crotched him and allowed AJ to hit a second rope Styles Clash for the win. I thought it was really, really good and sets up. It gave me enough to be excited for the next match in the story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the thing is, like I said, it's good. It's not the blow off to the feud, so I'm not expecting it to be, 10 out of 10 5-star classic. But yeah, this was good, and it did what it needed to do to hopefully set up a SummerSlam match between the two that will be hopefully that little bit better and that next level up. And I love the Styles Clash off the ropes was like an inverted one.
Yeah.
So instead of coming outwards, AJ was facing away to the crowd and then jumped backwards to hit the Styles Clash. Looked awesome.
It was really clever, actually.
It's such a tiny little change.
Yeah.
Really makes no difference to the move. Makes it look so much better. And it was great.
And it's kind of cool to get that over as like that's the new heel AJ way to finish a match.
Yeah.
As opposed to doing the phenomenal forearm, which is like almost like his babyface move.
Yeah.
So I think that's actually quite a cool little wrinkle to it. He's still doing the phenomenal forearm, but like he's been doing the second rope Styles Clash to Ricochet for a couple of weeks now, and again here at the pay-per-view. So it kind of feels like that's his new heel thing. I really like it.
Great.
They had a recap of Owens from SmackDown and the quote-unquote shoot promo that he did, and the tweet that he put out where he was pointing to all the people that aren't on the show, including AOP and the Viking Raiders and Kabuki Warriors, Billy Kidman and himself and this, that, and the other. And it was like a good joke tweet, which they were taking very seriously. Did you see Dolph's response?
Yeah, so then he said, Yawn, these are the people that I'm better than.
Yeah.
And put Shawn Michaels, The World, Kevin Owens,
yes,
and someone else?
And someone else, like, but the whole point was you're not meant to know who it is.
Right.
But Kevin Owens tweeted back to that saying, like, mate, if you're going to do a joke tweet, at least, like, put it in the right order. Like, you're meant to do me, then Michaels, then the person no one's heard of, and then the world. That's storytelling. Put the world first. It's like, I'm better than the world. And Owens.
And also
of course,
Kevin
he's
Owens.
included in the world, you gimboid. Idiots. And then Kevin Owens had a match with Dolph Ziggler. I said they had a match. Owens hit the stunner and won.
It was great. And there was a big pop for Owens on his entrance. Yay! That angle on SmackDown has actually led to Owens feeling like a star. People reacted to him on his entrance. Good signs for what's to come, hopefully.
Yeah, and then he grabbed the mic and said that Shane can kiss his ass. So,
great stuff.
More Shane feuds.
Absolutely called it as well. I came out and I was like, Ziggler's barely been focused on in this entire build for this match. I really hope that this is a quick one. Maybe Owens just comes out and stunners him. He did.
Yeah.
It was great.
Corey was pointing out as well that as much as he likes Dolph Ziggler, and he's a fan, because they're both heels, he's like, he does need to get a win. And once did he come back and still had 3 WWE Championship shots or whatever it was.
Yep.
Speaking of people getting championship shots that they probably didn't earn, Samoa Joe took on Kofi Kingston for the WWE Championship. Joe had a promo beforehand, which was good. Crowd were just so quiet for this. And I think it's just
distracting.
The problem was the crowd just did not buy Joe as a challenger.
No.
They didn't buy him as a credible threat to Kofi's run. And that's what I was saying at the top of the show. Kofi hasn't had a credible threat since he won the title from Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
He hasn't faced people who've been pushed as proper main eventers since he won the belt. Kevin Owens is a former Universal Champion, but was never pushed as like the guy.
No.
Then it was Dolph Ziggler, who's been mid-card act for 25 years, wherever long he's been there for. And Joe, who has lost so much this year and has lost by people just rolling him up and him getting angry.
Yeah.
And he just lost the US title. So it's very hard for them to say, like, okay, well, now you're going for the main title. So I don't know. It didn't really work. I did like a couple of spots in this. I liked Joe doing joint manipulation.
Yes.
And I liked him then putting it, because it plays off the middle finger that Kofi did, and him then putting it into the steps and stamping on it.
Yeah.
The only thing, they never then went back to it.
Yeah.
They did that spot, and then he started working over different body parts.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, why did we do this bit then?
Kofi was selling it for the rest of it. Anytime he hit a strike with that hand, he was like, oh, that one hurt. And that was nice, but like, do it more. Do more things with it. I think they should have played that up a bit more. But
and there was a spot they played off the joke that Joe does get rolled up when he does the Kikina clutch, which actually is my favourite spot of the match.
This was great, yeah.
So he locks in the clutch, and Kofi goes to do the old Bret Piper spot. But Joe just grabs him and just slams him to the mat. Nope, not falling for that again. And it hits the senton. But that's when the crowd started chanting for "We want Lesnar."
No, we don't.
And then Kofi at the Trouble in Paradise out of nowhere for the win. No Lesnar. I thought it was standard.
Yeah, I thought it was fine.
And I think that Kofi just needs a big feud going into SummerSlam.
He does. I really hope he can get that with Bischoff at the helm now.
Yeah.
He really needs a legitimate contender.
Problem is that they don't really have many on SmackDown. No, like, real main eventers on the heel side of things.
I think
There's Randy Orton is about it.
It's either got to be a main eventer or someone completely new, like Aleister Black.
Or Bray Wyatt.
Or Bray Wyatt. Just throw him in.
But I wouldn't put Bray into that position too early.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
But to your point, you need to, it needs to be someone who feels fresh.
Yes.
I don't want them to do another Joe feud.
No.
That's certainly not going to help him not going into SummerSlam. He needs, Kofi needs not just a big opponent, not big as in stature-wise, but sort of big as in sort of presence-wise and star power-wise. It needs to feel like a marquee match.
Yes.
Because this did not feel like a marquee match. Despite the fact it was the semi-main event, it did not feel like a marquee match. As we were saying on the preview show, it feels below the Roman tag match. It felt below the main event tag match. It felt below, in terms of TV time, the SmackDown Women's Championship. It felt below AJ and Ricochet because that was getting main event stuff on Raw. It felt very unimportant.
Yes.
And I think Kofi, to kind of legitimize this WWE Championship run, which has been booked very well, but it has been lackluster in terms of story.
Yes.
He's just been booked strong. He's just been booked to win all the time. To fully cement him as a WWE champion, he needs a big time storyline, a big marquee match at SummerSlam.
Exactly. He had that when he won the championship,
Yeah.
and now he needs one to hold the championship.
Oh, yeah.
And keep that. I don't think he's going to, though, because I think he's going to lose it at SummerSlam.
All that main event level stuff that he was getting in the lead up to Elimination Chamber, or that week before Elimination Chamber. Basically, the week before Elimination Chamber up until WrestleMania was just that's how Kofi should be positioned now. Problem is, I don't think he is. Certainly not on SmackDown. Someone made a comment on our video where we were talking about how Roman will likely be the number one face on SmackDown, and then Kevin Owens is the number two. And everyone was like, then where does that put Kofi?
Yeah.
And well, actually, at this point, Kofi does feel like the number 3 baby face on the brand, and he's the champion.
I know. It's mental.
It is, yeah. And then we got the Seth and Becky versus Corbin and Lacey main event, which we talked about earlier.
One thing I do want to mention,
please do.
just about that main event that we didn't mention earlier, is how unfortunate it's been for Rollins. Wins the title at WrestleMania. Granted, not clean against Lesnar, but won the title against Lesnar in the opener. Everyone was happy. Yay, Rollins champion. And he's feuded with Baron Corbin since, and now he's lost it.
Yeah. Well, he's going to win it back in 2 weeks.
Fingers crossed.
That's my bold prediction.
Yeah, but it just feels very unfortunate for him to not be given a chance to feel like the top guy. He's not been given a chance to have a proper top-tier feud.
Like Kofi.
Like Kofi. They've both just been booked to have feuds
mid-card
with mid-carders, yeah. And now he's lost the title. It's just really unfortunate.
Yeah,
for
no,
that
you're
run.
absolutely right. It's a bit of a shame.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I actually really enjoyed the show. I gave it a 4 out of 5. I thought it was a great per-view.
Yep.
As I said, apart from the final 2 matches, I had a really, really fun time. And I can look past some of the so-so matches that I wasn't really that into. I think the matches that were so good kind of level out those ones. And then they don't feel like... I got tired by the end. And some of the matches I was like, that's not great. But I was never like, God, that was awful.
Yeah. I think I'm
Bayley,
the same.
but Bayley in the 2-on-1 handicap match was just a bit bland.
Yeah, it was a bit meh. But yeah, I'd agree with you at a 4 out of 5. Especially for a B show, this was pretty good. And I don't think that there weren't any matches where I was like, that's incredible, 5 out of 5 stuff.
Bobby, obviously.
It was stupid fun stuff. It wasn't 5 out of 5.
I was thoroughly sports entertained.
Yes, I was sports entertained at that one. But there wasn't anything, like you said, that was actively damaging and horrible. So, I mean, Lesnar's champ's not great. Left a bit of a sour taste at the end. But overall, fun.
Yeah.
Liked it.
I remember, and that's so, I mean, I heard Stomping Ground got very good reviews as well. So that's 2 on the
it was
bounce.
right.
Two 4 out of 5s on the bounce for WWE.
I do think, though, that these pay-per-views are helped by the fact that going into them, people expect them to be terrible.
Yeah,
and
probably.
they exceed their expectations.
Which is weird as well, because the card was really good.
Yeah.
The card had some really good matches on it.
Just a shame it had terrible builds.
Yeah, absolutely. But let's have your super chats with Laurie Blake. What's going on, man?
Hey, mate. Sorry, I had to
Hey.
turn my mic back on, and there was a lot of buttons pressing. Hi, I'm back.
Hey.
Let's do super chats. I am going to, again, disappear from view because it's a faff to go back and forwards between the screens.
Have fun.
So, back to you guys.
Thanks, mate.
So, Chisel, question mark, so maybe it's
Chisel?
Comes in with, good show that was. Also, how the devil are you, Luke?
Very well, thank you very much. And yeah, it was a good show, Chisel. I completely agree.
Chisel?
Chisel. Jesse Venable comes in with love the pay-per-view except AJ winning and the Brock cash-in. I also enjoyed having the Universal title on TV every week. Not excited for another Lesnar reign.
Yeah, I mean...
In absentia is how he likes to reign.
I think we might have worked ourselves into a shoot, brother, thinking that he's going to be on TV a lot. I think we've sort of convinced ourselves that because Heyman's in charge creatively, and we've got like 4 weeks till SummerSlam, that he might be on TV But I could be very much wrong. He might not even be on TV tonight.
Yeah, he might not even be there till Survivor Series. Who knows?
Who knows at this point? I'd imagine he'll be there at SummerSlam, but again, it's shrugging shoulders. Who knows? Although I did like AJ winning.
Yeah, I thought
because I had that as my prediction.
Yes, me too.
That's it. It's all a ruthless game for points now.
It really
is. It is.
I didn't like New Day won because I hadn't predicted them to win.
Yeah, exactly. I just want things to go as I want them to. That's it.
Yeah.
Goddamn wrestling with its trying to trick me. Yeah. Abram Pena comes in with that black mass last night was a thing of beauty.
Oh, it was great.
I was saying this earlier to Chopper that I think it's I don't think Aleister Black's booked to win. I think he's just the Black Mass is such a protected finisher because he is just hitting people in the face with his foot and he's knocking them out.
But do you remember when he did it to Lars in NXT and he whiffed it? But they still they ran a storyline to keep Lars off TV that he broke his jaw. I'm like, cracky, even when he whiffs it, like the force, like the air that he kind of like whiffs past.
He's generating G's.
Exactly, breaks jaws.
Aaron War comes in with a very generous donation and says,
Thank you.
Not Brock Lesnar again.
Oh, I know, mate. I know.
Yeah.
I think it's a short-term thing.
I'm staying optimistic. He's not going to have a long reign.
Well, I guess Heyman will be the one to do good things with him, though.
Yeah,
well, I mean, if he's on TV, it's a different matter. Also, I'd imagine he's going to be part of the Fox deal, and so he'll be on SmackDown. So he can't be Universal Champion for like forever.
That long, yeah.
Jeffrey Pridemore comes in with, good morning, guys. I became a pledge hammer this week. I've been with you guys for a few months. I'll be with you guys from a few months from now. I'm really glad to support. Keep up the good thumbs up emoji.
Thank you, mate. Good stuff. And thank you for being a pledge hammer. I hope you're enjoying all the bonus content.
Anton H says, I wouldn't have said this months ago, but so glad Lesnar saved us from the cringe relationship of the champions.
I actually thought, I mean, it's a fair point, but I thought that once this match was over, that on-screen relationship was effectively done.
Yeah.
They didn't need to do anything else with it, so I thought they would just stop doing it after this show.
But they made a man's man t-shirt.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe they're going to do, maybe the next step is that Seth becomes Becky's manager, and it's the man's manager. Jack Dolan comes in saying, Shane won't be beating Kofi, Shane will beat Brock.
Can you imagine? There was a point at the start of this show when the commentator said, Shane has been in the ring with the likes of Kurt Angle, The Rock, Stone Cold. I'm like, he's been forever too far booked. Like, he's been overbooked and overpushed since day one in this promotion. There are so many few wrestlers. There are very few that can say they've been in the ring with all of those people.
It's true.
And won matches and this, that, and the other.
But most importantly, Steve Blackman.
Let's not forget the big Steve Blackman push of 2000.
Yeah.
Kian Harvey says, last year Intercontinental title was the main event. Now it's on the pre-show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get you.
But that's because we didn't have a Universal title.
Yeah. I'd say so.
Travis Woodard says, who do you think Bray Wyatt will feud with?
So, WrestleVotes tweeted over the weekend that prior to the Heyman Bischoff announcement, the plan was that Wyatt was going to debut at SummerSlam, and he was going to have his first appearance and match at SummerSlam. They don't know whether those plans are still in place now that the Heyman and Bischoff have given the clean slate to start again. So I don't know, and I to be honest, I think it needs to be someone that he can just beat.
Yeah,
just beat quickly. As cool as it would be to put him in a feud with Aleister Black or something along those lines, you don't want to put him into someone where you also need to have the other person win. Kind of the genius of Aleister Black and Cesaro is that Cesaro can take a loss and it doesn't hurt him. Whereas I don't think at this point you really want to be beating Black. You also don't want to be beating Bray. You don't want to be beating AJ if you were to put him in a feud with them. So you've got to pick it smartly as of someone that he can beat.
Yeah, I think for his first feud, it's got to be someone that he can beat and someone he can beat convincingly. For a character like Wyatt, I don't think you can have a Black Cesaro kind of match. I don't think you want Wyatt to have that kind of match for his debut, just simply because of the character he's got. I think you want him to dominate.
Yeah.
So I think maybe have someone like a Mysterio someone like that he
Mysterio's
could
not the worst
just
shout.
beat.
Yeah.
And Mysterio's not going to lose anything because he's Mysterio.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to beat anyone that's too high up because then they might look a bit rubbish.
Yeah.
So I think maybe just to start with, just Mysterio and just beat him quickly and everyone's happy, maybe.
Someone made a very good point recently. She just reminded me of that. Where's Lars Sullivan?
Is he injured? I think he's
Is
injured. I
he?
think he's injured.
Oh, okay.
I think he got
last we heard from him, as far as I can tell, was when he lost at Saudi Showdown.
No, and then he beat Lucha House Party the next night. That's when he got the injury. Was the next night.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, right.
So I think he had
Caught
like
too many luchadors.
Yeah,
That's while I was away.
Yeah, I think he had like a niggling injury, and then it got aggravated from Super Showdown and the Raw after.
Right, I see.
I think.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
The more you know.
Bray could always just roll up Samoa Joe. It'd be fun.
Yeah, it's true.
Ryan B. Bad says, similar to Money in the Bank, Lesnar winning the title absolutely ruined the whole pay-per-view for me. It went from a very specific 3.75 star show down to a 2-star show.
Wow.
Ryan
Wow.
B. Bad's rating system. Unforgiving.
It is unforgiving, absolutely. I disagree. It left a sour taste in my mouth, but it didn't ruin the show for me because I got Bobby versus Braun. I want that match on pay-per-view for the rest of the year.
Yeah. Some sort of weasel called Andy Datson has left a message that says, the average hair in that studio is 0. He's not looking in the right places, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But also, at least with you here, the charisma level has been risen.
Whee!
Got him.
Larry Acup.
Thanks for watching, Randy.
Yeah,
Do
thanks for
your
watching,
job.
Randy. Get on with your work. Larry Acup says, thanks for the great work. AEW was a better show.
Might
So,
have been.
yeah, I was going to say, I've heard mixed things. I've heard a
Me
few
too.
people say that Fight for the Fallen was a better show, but I've also heard a lot of people say Extreme Rules was a lot better. I've heard some very, very mixed responses to Fight for the Fallen. So I'm looking forward to catching up on it and kind of judging it for myself.
Yeah,
I think
for
both clearly just had like 1 or 2 matches that were very good.
Yeah.
And the rest of it kind of mixed. So it really depends on, I think, where your loyalties lie.
Yeah, I think
sure.
so.
Oblivious Kari says, Brock's bank account is greater than Seth's.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, actually, that's probably a 100% fact.
Oh, yeah.
I did see that on Squared Circle, actually. If someone's like, karma for Seth Rollins, talking about his bank account against Will Ospreay, and he gets beaten by the one guy that's got the bigger bank account than him. It's great.
So big, he's got a briefcase to carry some of it around and can't even fit it all in the bank. Kevin, all caps, says, Jack Dolan's super chat makes sense. Lesnar hit an F5 on Shane 3 years ago at SummerSlam, so long-term booking, only the best in the world can beat Lesnar.
That's true. Yeah.
We weren't meant to set up that Lesnar Shane match. It never happened, did it? So yeah, maybe we're onto something here. It's Universal Champion Shane. We've been barking up the wrong championship tree.
Omniversal champion Shane.
Omniversal champion Shane.
When he unifies the belt with his vortex.
Oh my god. It's great.
Ryan F says, I'd give the show a high 3 out of 5 or a low 4 out of 5. Enjoyable.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Very much so.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I'm never going to be able to say this name. Oh, no, I can actually. Dark Joker's in Legend Killer says, being at the show, the crowd was out it. The show was too long. I think they were out of it.
Yeah.
The show was too long. The crowd really popped for Braun and Lashley. Most of it was due to because they just didn't buy into the matches, basically.
Yeah.
I think that's probably fair enough. As I said, like the dead crowd, no one bought into, particularly in the main events, no one bought into Joe winning, no one bought into Corbin and Evans winning.
I'm surprised about Revival Usos. That's the one where I was thinking that you'd probably buy into it more, but...
And AJ Ricochet.
Yeah.
Mr. One says, no AEW coverage equals no longer a pledge hammer.
I mean, it's still getting coverage. It's just
we're doing the coverage.
We couldn't get in on Sunday to do the review of Fight for the Fallen.
We're a man down.
We're a man down at the moment,
Holidays
so
and
we couldn't
holidays,
do we couldn't do that review. It will be different once AEW's kind of sort of like I'd say up and running properly, and they've got a bit more of a pay-per-view schedule lined up. And we haven't got holidays and booked. I think we'll be able to do coverage. We're going to be doing the weekly TV show when it starts.
Yeah.
It's just that, we're a man down, and it was Simon's birthday, so he was away, I was away. Yeah, there was no way we could do the review and everything. Yeah.
Anthony James says, Uso match should have been pre-show, not Balor and Shin.
It's not a bad shout, actually.
Yeah.
In
it's
hindsight.
not a bad idea. Yeah.
They're used to it, I suppose, as well.
Yeah.
Johnny DiPietro, Randy Datson's number 2 fan, says, hello, Andy, Luke, and Pete. Andy's not here. I've missed you guys this past week, but I was in hospital for the birth of my daughter. How often Will Lesnar show up for this title reign, and how long will he hold it for?
I don't care, mate. Congratulations. I don't care about Lesnar now.
I
talk about your
genuinely don't care.
Yeah, talk about your amazing miracle of birth.
Yeah, congratulations.
I'm assuming trying to keep baby asleep while watching this. Now.
yeah.
Shh. Bore this baby to sleep.
Brock Lesnar.
Zach Hooper says Brock is a cancer everywhere he goes. Bit mean, I think.
Bit mean.
I think he's exciting and a draw.
Yeah, he is a draw.
Yes.
And I actually liked the Money in the Bank thing. I think at the time I was like, oh, when I was watching it, but I liked what they did with it. I
think if they'd have not done the teasers, I'd have popped for this much bigger than I did.
If they literally had never mentioned about him coming and then he just came out, this would have been like, oh my God, what a shocking moment. And people would have thought less about what are the repercussions of this.
That's very true, actually. Even if you'd have just removed the Heyman promo from Raw, you actually would have had because I was not expecting him to come out here. I'd convinced myself it was SummerSlam or Fox.
Yeah.
So actually, Heyman setting this up actually kind of like lessened the effect of it.
Very
That's
much
a good
so.
point.
Yeah.
It was weird that they teased it and then did it because they've been teasing it the whole time, and then they came up with all these reasons why it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
It was very odd. Nate dropped surname says, I was wondering why Brock would cash in after Seth goes into super rage mode. Doesn't that make Seth look weaker now?
Well, he just survived like a big Extreme Rules match.
Yeah.
He's tired from all those kendo stick shots.
And I think Rollins had kind of gone out of extreme rage mode because he now wanted to go check on Becky after the match. He kind of calmed down. He's like, right, let me go check on my girlfriend who just took an end of days. And that's when Lesnar came out. So he's a bit distracted. So I think it works.
I think it worked.
Like a barbarian, he needs a long rest before he
Yeah.
can rage again. Justin Roderick says, here's my free super chat because you're the best, Fakador. Thank you, Justin.
Aw, thanks.
It's lovely. Thank you very much.
Donovan Garcia says, Aleister Black's first main roster championship? Question mark.
Aleister Black's?
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see him and Nakamura.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
IC title would be a good one for him. Yeah.
I could see them having moved the title specifically for that, actually. I can see that.
shout,
Yeah. They weren't doing anything with Finn anyway, so.
Yeah.
Moving to Raw, put him with the club.
Yep.
Bush Wookie 567, from a long line of Bush Wookiees apparently, was at Extreme Rules and was falling asleep.
Oh,
Wow.
mate. The crowd weren't into it.
No, not at all.
Paul J says, my first ever super chat because I'm generally busy working at live feed times. This is Paul E. Dangerously Jarman just saying hi.
Paulie Dangerously. Hello, mate.
Nice. Hello.
Good to see you, bud.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the super chat.
Thank you.
Ryan B. Bad says, Fight for the Fallen was awesome and better than Fyter Fest.
Ooh. That's an opinion I haven't heard yet.
No, neither have I.
Nicholas Belgraf, just with a donation. Thank you very much,
you.
Nicholas. Jer Personen says, oh, for God's sake,
Chairman
I'm
of the
trying to get some sleep. I asked you to keep that dog quiet. Instead, you outfit him with a megaphone. I think Jer's just doing his own thing.
Yeah, I think so.
I love
Yeah.
that, man.
World War Slug with 2 Gs, just a donation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you kindly.
Will Adams, Luke Owens, #1 fan, says, lads, I'm having a bad day, but you guys make it better.
Oh, mate.
Wow, that sucks.
Well, I'm glad that we can help in whatever way, but it's all right, mate.
Yeah, it's all good.
It's pretty good. Come hang out with it. It's lovely time with the boys.
Lovely time
Fun
with the
time
boys.
with the boys.
I like
Is that
lovely
what it
time
is?
with the boy.
Lovely fun
Lovely
time
time?
with the boy. You be careful. Brandon Abbas just comes in with a donation. Thank you very much.
Thank you kindly.
Thank you.
Anonymous says, did you guys see Bryan's great promo after the match? He talked about how he has to aim higher than the mediocre tag team division and go where he has never gone before. Any ideas what that could be?
I didn't see this.
See, I hadn't heard the promo, but I'd heard people talking about the promo. And I was going to check it out before the Ramble so I could talk about it on the Ramble, but I didn't, and I forgot, and I'm really upset because I've now just remembered about it.
You're
But
fired.
I know. But that sounds
Oh, I'll get my chair back.
really curious. That sounds really curious, and I don't know where he's going to go. I don't know what he's going to do now. Maybe it's Brock. Maybe that's what he needs to do. I don't know.
I was going to say, like, if it's where he hasn't gone before, that would be Universal Championship. So, yeah.
That's good.
Women's title.
Or the women's title, yeah.
Or Cruiserweight.
Oh, God. Can you imagine? I mean,
I
if
hate
it,
it.
a star would be on 205
Yeah, I know,
Live.
but-
Like, people might actually watch it. Then.
But how
NXT.
Yeah, but how many... Oh, Laurie.
A little Kushida match.
Oh, mate. But then again, you talk about stars on 205. How many stars are on NXT UK? Tons.
Yeah,
No one cares still.
it's very
No
true.
one would care about 205 Live if...
But they're not been they haven't been presented as stars, though.
Well, yeah, I guess. But still.
Yeah. Apart from, like, Dan and Walter, I guess.
Yeah.
Thank you again to Brandon Abbas. Thank you also to John Marth. Party on Sparty18 says Seth's tweets will be deleted before the day is over.
I haven't seen Seth's tweets.
I was going to say, has he been tweeting?
I don't know. Shall I have a look?
You asked a question. I'll
live on air.
Okay. Ralph Marion says, since Seth and Brock are going for the Universal title, could you see Bray and Kofi having a match at SummerSlam? They can use Bray's new character going after Kofi's kids and get them to let him in.
I could dig
That's
it.
cool.
Honestly,
Yeah, I could dig it.
Yeah. I keep saying this. I think SummerSlam is a good time for Kofi to lose the title. He hasn't had the greatest run, but I think you don't want to drag it out too far so people start to dislike Kofi with the title. So yeah, and if you want to cement Bray Wyatt as a star, WWE Championship is a good way to do that.
Certainly a way to do it, absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
okay
that's actually a really good shout. I've just checked Seth's Twitter and he's not really tweeted anything. So maybe
They've already been deleted.
Maybe they've been deleted,
Maybe they already have.
Nate Drop Surname again says, Taker finally had a good showing to end on.
Yeah. Well,
will not be the end.
No,
but
certainly won't be the end.
commentary definitely put that one over. He was like, hey, Michael Cole was basically telling the fans to stop being so pretentious. He's like, hey guys, enjoy this site. Just enjoy The Undertaker, for God's sake. We don't know how much longer we're going to do it. Just enjoy it while he's here.
we're paying him enough. Just enjoy this, will you? This is costing us a lot of money.
Tomo comes in with a very generous donation and
Thank you
says,
very much.
Did you guys know that all your beards are just stunning? Mainly Laurie's.
It
And
is
once
the best
again,
one.
sending love to everybody.
Yeah.
Ha ha.
Excuse me.
I think Laura's got the best beard out of all of us.
Outrageous.
You're fired.
Shut up. Go away, Kenny.
Zaim Kazi says, do you see Aleister Black and Cesaro becoming a tag team? Both like to fight, so could develop mutual respect for each other.
No, absolutely not. Cesaro does not need to be in a tag team yet. Neither does Black, for that matter.
No.
Absolutely
Keep them
not.
both single stars.
Which actually means, they probably will end up on a tag team.
Absolutely,
Which
yeah.
would be even funnier because they're not on the same brand.
They're going to replay the bar.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, Cesaro's kept the gum shield that says the bar on it, so they'll just rebrand it. And
Yeah.
Black will just join.
The new bar.
Oh, mate.
The lowered bar.
The new bar to face with the new day.
Yeah.
It's a new bar, yes it is.
Thank you to Tajwa Collins. Thank you to Eric Enigma as
Thank
well.
you all.
Thank you.
Kevin, all caps, says, nobody's talking about Dawson's face when he was lying on Uso's body after a beatdown behind the referee's back.
Oh, yeah,
I
was
laughed
good.
so much.
Yeah, it was funny.
That was very funny.
Yeah, that was a good spot, actually. I should have mentioned that.
Thank you again to Eric Enigma.
Thank you.
Jonathan Berube says, I say Nia return, not Banks.
Yeah, I mean, actually, it's not the worst shout in the world. I mean, it's a disappointing result, but it's it's not the worst shout in the world. It's actually a very good shout.
To be as Bayley's friend?
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Sure. Yeah, why not?
Devante Lee says, Joe is the new Bray. He talks great and then loses.
Oh,
yeah. It's
absolutely.
so unfortunate.
It is
Big time.
unfortunate, yeah.
Because Joe is so good.
Yeah, it deserves better than that.
Yeah.
David Thompson says, loving the content.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jobber
It's average at
JJ. Braun in these sorts of matches is just a joy.
Oh,
He
it is. This is what they should be doing with Braun.
Yeah.
It's the most interested I've been in Braun for a long time. Love this.
Yeah.
I want to see a Braun in the China shop match. That's what I want to see.
Yes, mate.
Shadow Demon 22 says, every time Brock wins, 10 more fans switch to AEW.
I actually would imagine that when Brock wins, more people tune in to watch Raw.
Yeah. Possibly.
Dakota Oliver says, Strowman is the Kool-Aid man. Oh, yeah.
That in my review, yeah.
Yeah.
Andy Datson, that
Oh,
dweeb,
my
says,
God.
Finn Balor just tweeted, bye-bye. Does this mean Big E is turning heel on the New Day?
It's the funniest thing that man's ever said. That's very, very good.
That's actually pretty good.
That's
yeah.
great.
That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
so Finn tweeted bye-bye.
Interesting.
It's Finteresting is what it is.
I think he's saying goodbye to SmackDown because he's going to Raw to join the club.
I know, that's what I'm thinking
Optimistic.
too. And we're talking about big angles for Raw Reunion. It's another option.
Yeah.
Or unless he's just saying bye-bye to the belt.
bye. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
just saying
picture of
bye.
him with the belt. He's saying bye to the belt. Come
Damn
on,
it.
guys.
Damn it. That was our fault. We got ourselves
Yeah.
hyped up for nothing.
Jobber JJ says, I've watched a triple threat from X7 and wondered that I want that kind of matchup with big guys, Godzilla style. And now I got it. So much fun.
So good. There's a moment during that match. Might be my favorite moment of the match is when they're fighting in this sort of little fake like building area that they've got, and Kane and Big Show just start pushing each other into walls, and the walls start crumbling. Oh, it's so good.
I like the one where he has what is it, the hose thing around Raven's neck, and then he throws him through the window.
Throws him through a window.
It's
It's amazing.
Yeah.
What a brilliant match. Then they start doing Mario Kart. Oh, that's
yeah,
good.
it's awesome.
Raven nearly turns off the pay-per-view
Entire
feed.
power supply. It's awesome.
Michael Brown says 50 character max for chats is as frustrating as WWE. I'm assuming that's something to do with YouTube,
Probably, yes.
which I don't understand. I was watching the feed just I don't know what's going on. How Andy does this is like watching a Matrix. King Coolin, thank you very much for your donation.
Thank you.
Tomo says,
Tomo.
I really want Andrade to be Kofi's next challenger. The matches they would have would be great.
They would be.
They would be, but Andrade doesn't feel special at the moment.
No.
You almost need to rebuild Andrade before you put him into that position.
The thing is, I feel like we say this a lot, was they're not really in the position for it. All you need is one hot angle, and then they're a star.
Yeah, yeah.
All you need is one good angle. All you need is on this SmackDown, have Andrade do something amazing, something that makes him look like a megastar, and then say, and now he's going for the WWE Championship. We'll be like, okay.
You say that, but they did that with Joe. Joe came out and choked him out, and Joe, ignoring the Ziggler thing, did give Kofi his first defeat since winning the belt, and he was pushed to be a big threat. But people didn't take him as a threat because of all the losses that he's had previously. And I think with Andrade, he's done nothing but lose since he got to the main roster. That he needs some big wins before you can. I think people can then say, yeah, I take him seriously now.
Yes and no. I think Joe's angle didn't make him look like a megastar. That was a way to get Joe in the feud. That wasn't a way to make Joe look like a big threat. That was him just doing Joe things, coming up from behind and choking him out, and yay, go Joe. I think if Andrade did something shocking, if he did something that was completely unexpected, like the Braun Bobby angle came out of nowhere, made them both look amazing, because it was such a huge, over-the-top angle with explosions and God knows what else, and everyone goes, oh my God, these guys are really cool. If Andrade came out, I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now to give an example, but if Andrade came out and did something that made people go this guy is incredible, then I think they'd have a reason to just be like, and now he's going to challenge Kofi because he's got new fire in him or whatever. They can come up with a reason.
I think you could do a WWE Championship match between the two of them and just announce it, and it happens on TV where the crowd aren't really going to be that into it because they don't take him as a threat. But then actually, if they have an incredible match with some amazing near falls and false finishes and stuff like that, that might be a way to completely rehabilitate it, because then everyone would just forget about it, because he'll have had this amazing match where people bought into him winning the title off of Kofi.
I think the only problem with that is it's a TV match, so it'll have to be 2 out of 3 falls.
Yeah, exactly.
Nick Castell says, hey guys, just wanted to say, got my Ridge wallet a few days ago, and I've been loving it. Thank you for the recommendation.
Of course.
There it is. Got mine.
Got mine as well, which is probably a bit scratched, but that's okay. Yeah,
it's very cool.
Why is yours so scratched?
I keep my keys in the same pocket as my wallet, so it probably scratches.
Amateur hour.
Yeah, I know.
Well, it's better than having my keys next to my phone, because then I don't want it to scratch the screen of that.
Why don't you? Have you tried wearing your keys on a chain?
No.
Like the 90s.
Yeah, like the 90s. You can get the Rachel haircut while you're at it. RJ Calmarin says, no more Beast Box. No!
I mean, that was a very short-lived gimmick, wasn't it?
It was fine for 1 week.
Yeah. It was fine until they took it too far.
Exactly, yeah.
By giving you decals on a hoodie.
Yeah. And a t-shirt.
Devante Lee again says, before the last match I said I'm done drinking for the night, and then Brock happened. Why does he care so much about that damn jam belt? I don't get it.
Money, I guess.
That damn jam belt.
Yeah, I guess in kayfabe world, you earn more money when you have the belt.
Yeah,
so
and he likes to be champion.
Brock likes money.
It is the top belt.
Mm-hmm. How many more have we got?
A few more. Probably about 10.
Lightning round.
Lightning round.
Sean Turner says, where is my Screen Grapple Award for the greatest idea of the year, a.k.a. my Bayley Sting idea? Where is Ollie? Did he get an accident? Chopper. Stay safe, Ollie.
Oh, well, that's a question for you and Simon. Why didn't he get a Screen Grapple Award for that?
Because we make it up on a weekly basis. There's no planning.
No.
And Ollie's on holiday. He's back on Wednesday.
Yeah, he hasn't got in an accident.
Not yet. Zawa the Viking Slayer said, any chance Heyman or Bischoff bring Harper back?
That's a very cool name, by the way. No. Bearing in mind that Vince has still got final say, and Vince does not like Harper, it's not happening.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you should say never say never in wrestling, but I would imagine no.
Highly unlikely.
Yeah.
Anthony Eng says, Kofi pinned Bryan to become WWE champion. New Day pins Bryan to become the tag team champions.
Didn't think about that.
Good,
that was cool.
Yeah.
Wow, doesn't Bryan look rubbish?
Bryan goes into a 3-on-1 handicap feud to
win
win
all 3 belts.
the tag titles on his own and the
he is
WWE
the tag team
Championship.
champions.
Yeah.
Once again.
Thank you very much to Viola for a subscription. It's V space Ola. So
Nice.
not like a viola, the instrument.
Not
Thank you very much.
Anthony James says Taker versus Lesnar at SummerSlam, question mark.
I think I'm done with Taker Lesnar matches.
Yeah, no, I don't want that.
Yeah. City Taker going for the top title in 2019.
Not happening.
No, thanks, mate.
RJ Calmarin says Black Mass or End of Days.
Black Mass.
Black Mass.
All day long, Black Mass.
End of Days is great, but Black Mass.
Black Mass.
I think End of Days is my favourite like grappling finisher.
Yeah.
And then Black Mass is probably my favourite.
Yeah.
This is just a kick to your head.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kareem Nesby with a donation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Jordan Price says, I like your guys' content. Keep up the good work.
Thank you kindly.
Tom Evans, thoughts on Raw Reunion. Also, big fan, guys.
Oh, well, thank you very
Well,
much.
thank you.
I think it needs to be more than a nostalgia show. If it's just a nostalgia show for cheap ratings pop, not into it. But if it's a way to do a big angle in front of a big audience, because more people are going to watch it, then I am all for it.
I don't think this was Heyman's idea, and I think they've announced it before Heyman took over. They said, oh, by the way, in a couple of weeks you're going to have to do this Raw Reunion. So maybe Heyman can make something of it, but I think it was initially announced for a ratings pop.
Okay.
Nate Drop Surname says, was at Fight for the Fallen. It was a great show, but it was hot.
Oh,
Huh.
like this room,
In
really.
Florida.
Shocking.
In the swamps.
In the swamps? Scyther versus everyone says, Matt Hardy has teased V1 or Woken on Instagram. Which would you prefer? Imagine a V1 Hardy return to feud with Nakamura or something else.
V1 Hardy, I'd have no nostalgic feelings towards V1 Hardy because he was in the time when I'd stopped watching. So I don't know. I don't really know. But then again, I didn't like Woken Hardy either. So,
Yeah. I prefer Woken because it has a chant that I enjoy doing. That's about it. I have no strong feelings either way.
The only thing I remember, like, because when I got back into wrestling in sort of 2005-ish, my housemate who had been watching at the time would always just go, V1, and he liked the theme song. That's the only thing I really know about him.
Genuinely couldn't tell you anything
Match
about
facts.
V1.
I prefer
Tell
Woken,
more.
but I'd want them to just let him go full crazy with it, because it was very tame when he was doing Woken Matt Hardy, and I want to see like when they were just in Impact, letting him go nuts.
Yeah.
And film all of his own stuff. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Get
Final Deletion was the greatest part of Matt Hardy, I thought. It hit on his WWE run. I think that was the best installment of Matt Hardy.
Stephen Corton says Braun with the classic Shockmaster finish.
Oh, can you imagine if he burst through and fell over?
Great. Oh, brilliant.
Man.
Damn, I should have
Very
thought of that joke.
That's so good.
Scott Sloan says, am I the only one who hates Rollins as a face?
No, probably not the only one.
Yeah.
I think he's better as a heel, but I don't mind him as a face.
I'm less interested in him as a babyface, but
Yeah.
I don't hate him as a babyface.
No, hate's a strong word.
And finally, Nate Dropped Surname comes in with, don't forget, keep on chopping.
Chop in the morning, mate.
Everyone wants to try and give me a catchphrase.
But that is all we've got time for. Thank you so much for all your super chats. It's been very, very lovely hearing from all of you. Thank you for watching. If you're watching this on catch up, please do click the videos that are on the desk, and they'll take you to the latest WrestleTalk awesome things. I've been Luke Owen. This has been Pete Quinnell. Over there was Laurie Blake, and that we're rambling. It were rambling. It were rambling. Gonna stop the stream. Laurie's gonna stop